What's going on, beautiful people? It's your boy, Mr. Meyer, with the fire, here to share ideas and take the collective vibration higher. And my sole intention is to reconcile all paradox with love and truth, and I love you. And today is a special day. It is a special video. I know I say this shit every time, and it's episode number 9, but I'm serious, guys. Today is Lionsgate 8/8, and this is the astrology leading up until August 15th. So sit back, relax, hit the like button now. Don't wait. Slap that shit, and it's gonna be a good one. This is the chart for right now. Ignore the houses. Let me focus so you can feast your eyes upon the skies. Oh yes, indeed. Yes, please. Blessed be, blessed we. Can I get a raw XD in the comments? So this is 1 week from now. Really exciting. I'm gonna break it down by degree, and then we're gonna break it down by aspects, geometry. I almost started saying like trigonometry, algebra, psychology, political science. Like, no, we're not gonna go that far. I'm playing. I'm just exaggerating for y'all. But it is a good day, and bro, this has been an interesting video trying to film this shit, because I am just gonna be forthright with you guys. I almost filmed it last night. I was like, let me get it going the night before. I was trying to be ahead of the time, and then I got so tired. The quality went super low, and I was like, fuck it, I'll do it today. And then I came out here to get into the beautiful scenery, and then I picked a couple different spots, and then people would be coming up to me in the middle of the video. I'm like, let me try to find the perfect balance of seclusion plus view and scenery plus aesthetic, and then we got it going on. So here we are, it's beautiful. Let me break it down by degree, and then we'll see. So we got the sun at 16 Leo today at Lionsgate. That's dead in the middle of Leo. So if you're in the northern hemisphere, what this literally means is it's the middle of summer. It's as summer as it gets. It's hot out here. It's pretty cool now, but if you're in the southern hemisphere, that's gonna mean it's in the middle of winter. And oh my goodness, that's as cold as it gets, you know? So how beautiful. Today with the moon in Taurus, it is a waning moon. It's a quarter moon. And this means that we are basically 3/4 of the way through the lunar cycle. The lunar cycle is going to begin again at new, where the sun and the moon conjoin next Wednesday, not tomorrow, but next Wednesday in the sign of Leo. And then the lunar cycle starts all over again. It will basically peak with the full moon in Pisces, and then it will begin anew after that with the new moon in Virgo. And you know that's just how it goes every year. So cool stuff, man. We are letting go. That's really what the waning moon is about. Letting shit go. Letting it all fucking go, dude. So today, Mercury is in Virgo, 12 degrees. We've got Venus going through Leo, backwards, might I add, at 23 Leo, retrograde. And dude, everybody's talking about Lionsgate, and nobody's talking about the shit that's going on with Venus. I'm not seeing it, at least. They may be talking about it, bro, but I'm like, Lionsgate is a celebration every year. It's a very beautiful thing, and I would encourage you to use it. I don't want to tell you not to partake in this exciting energy, but do pay attention to the rest of the wheel. Do pay attention to the rest of the planets, and especially everything affected by the sun. Venus needs some love right now. I'm just going to be real with you guys, and I'll tell you more about it. But there's a lot going on in the collective. This is a love transformation, truly. We have Mars going through Virgo at 17 degrees, full speed, and that's beautiful. We've got Jupiter in Taurus at 14 degrees, Saturn in Pisces at 5, going retrograde as well. Uranus at 22 Taurus. We've got Neptune at 27 Pisces, going retro, and then we've got Pluto and Cap at 28, going retro as well. Chiron retrograde at 19 Aries, and then the North Node is at 28 of Aries. South Node is in Libra, therefore, also at 28. And basically, we've got some really cool sun aspects for the week. And with the sun in its home sign of Leo, this is already beautiful. This is already about as good as it gets, dude. So we need to really take advantage of this energy and embrace the self, because Leo is the self. And with the sun in the dead center middle of the constellation of its house, there has never been a time to be more selfish. This is the time to shine. Yes, indeed. Yes, please. But we're starting this week with a challenge, guys, because Jupiter in Taurus is square to the sun. So this aspect has peaked today, and it's going to be basically waning out. Did it peak today? Yeah, my math is right. It basically peaked yesterday today. So we're waning out of it, but I will just say that a lot of us have been forced to grow on a character level, have been forced to accept more integrity. So the sun square Jupiter is going to bring in a lot of excitement. It's going to bring in new perspective. It really expands our sense of self. So for some, this is going to look like really embodying purpose to a deeper degree, really feeling a more meaningful life. For some, this same aspect is going to invoke some confusion, and that in itself may be helpful to divine and embody purpose. This could also look like feeling like you have it all figured out, not really needing anybody's advice, being so self-assured. And that may or may not be true, but it's just something to think about, okay? But in addition to the sun square Jupiter, we actually do have the sun making a nice trine to Chiron all week, and that's really beautiful. And this is the gift of healing the self, really accepting and forgiving what is, focusing on replenishment. And amidst everything that's happening in the underworld, I just want to say that this week does have a very restorative energy with this sun trine Chiron. It is really about nurturing the soul, nourishing the soul, and going within to find healing. That's what I'm seeing truly when it comes to the sun. And with this being one of the luminaries, and in addition to the moon, the sun is really where our focus should be when it comes to embodying the astrology, because this is how we are consciously aware of it. This is how it connects to our vital force, and this is how we take action and initiative on these things that we're learning, okay? So the sun is all about you. And before I go any further, I would just recommend that you embrace your sun this Leo season, meaning where in your chart is your sun. If you haven't commented yet, tell me where your sun is. What's the sign? What's the house? Are there any prominent aspects? And, how do you feel about that? I will just say, I'm a Leo, I'm gonna just pause for the cause and show you how this works. I'm a Leo sun, so that means my identity of myself is very fixed, and I'm very self-aware, and that kind of breeds the spectrum of like confidence / shyness. But I do have an innate self-respect because I do see myself as the center of my life. It's 11th house, so it kind of makes me like humanitarian and super connected to everybody. So sometimes my identity is a little bit hard to grasp because it in itself requires so much connection to others. And I could literally talk you guys off about who the fuck I am. Of course, a Leo's favorite subject is themselves, but I got a square to Saturn with the sun, which makes me a very strong and successful person, but at the same time, I can be very pessimistic and like way too afraid of shit for real, oftentimes. My sun is square to Chiron. We're not gonna talk about that, man. I think you just see it in my face, dude. But it's opposite Neptune, opposite Uranus. Basically, I'm a different Leo, but doesn't everybody who's a Leo think that they're different? You kind of see the point. Let me move the fuck on, dude, because I could make this literally all about me on a Lionsgate. So basically, the point that I want to express, again, why I did that, know your sun, because everything will circulate and revolve back around this part of your chart. Some say that the sun is the ego. Some would call it the spirit. But either way it goes, when you identify with this part of yourself, you'll be able to really step more into your true innate being. That's why I took time to get into that. It's not really about me. It's really about you, is how my 11th house sun sees it. It's like there was no point to express that if you weren't able to learn from it, truly. So, that being said, before we talk about Venus and what's going on, I just want to talk about what's going on in Virgo and the other aspects we got. So Mars and Mercury are in Virgo, and Virgo is really about fixing things, refining things, breaking things down to a process. And we've got Mercury, which is how we think and how we analyze and how we basically perceive reality. And then we've got Jupiter, which is how we learn, how we expand, and really how we grow in life. And these two are making a trine because they're both in the earth signs. We got Virgo, Taurus. So simply put, for a lot of people this week, things are going to start making sense. Or you may also notice that communication is a lot more easy and your intuition is more on point when it comes to communication with the world and others and self. There's a nice flow when it comes to learning and growth. It's balanced, it's organized, and it's very systematic as well. So there is a gift here, and it's a good time to indulge in study or even set plans for your future growth. So we are going through a love detox in the collective though, and that's really what I want to talk about today. And I want to show you as I say this, dude. Everybody's talking about Lionsgate, but look at Venus, dude. Good Lord, bro. Did y'all see this shit? This is hard to talk about, but we're gonna talk about it. You know, so the Venus retrograde is when Venus essentially appears to reverse her direction in orbit from Earth's perspective. Of course, no planet is going to reverse because we're all moving in the direction that the sun is spinning. But that being said, perception is reality. And what is Venus? Venus is how we feel. Some would disagree, but I would just say it's how we experience joy, happiness, life, nourishment. Venus correlates to the needs that we have. It's the innate pleasure of being, which leads us towards survival. And nothing exists in a vacuum, and a lot of things can have a dichotomy, or they may exist on a continuum. And what this literally means, guys, is that everything has a shadow. Where there's light, there is shadow. There must be dark where there's light. And when it comes to Venus, yeah, this is pleasure, but it's also pain. It's life, but it's also death. And that's crazy to think about. You know, Venus is about relating to yourself, therefore how you relate to others and the world. So Venus is how you relate, indulge, compromise, connect. It's like what you're willing to do for love because of what you aspire for is beautiful. And if you look at Venus in your chart, it's all gonna make sense to you, truly. If you take time to look at the aspects, the house, the sign, etc., rulership. And that being said, guys, like, I've never heard anybody talk about this shit for real, explicitly, but if Venus shows you how you love, this will also show you the types of actions that you may be willing to do to manipulate people, to gain power, control, or appreciation, or favor, okay? So Venus has been experiencing a lot of crazy things, man. Venus retrogrades happen for about 40 days, and you know, it's not a very uncommon thing, but these are gonna happen way less frequently than like a Mercury retrograde. So for about roughly like 60 to 90 days, Venus is basically like behind the sun. We can't see her as she is going through her thing, reversing back. And when a retrograde happens, this optical illusion, like I said, perception is reality. So if we're not experiencing the planet of love, beauty, value, pleasure moving the same way as everything else, this feels like abandonment, truly. If you really think about it, that's like the most simple and succinct thing I could tell you, is that imagine somebody is giving you love, pleasure, nourishment, presence, connection, and then it just stops. That's the Venus retrograde in a nutshell, truly, if you really think about it, dude. You know, we get to really reveal the power of love when this shit happens. And I want you to think about and that shit hurts for real. Ooh, yeah, but when any planet goes retrograde, essentially because we're not receiving as much forward momentum, we can receive more backwards momentum. The principle of vibration, cause and effect. The effects of the past, the causes from the past can have more of effect on us when it comes to the retrograde planet, meaning, you know, the love that you experienced in the past may be more appealing. Venus retrograde specifically is one of those transits where, you know, you might see some people that you haven't talked to for a while or connected with in a while, or maybe even got off on bad terms with, come back into your life and try to make things right, try to reconnect, try to rekindle those flames and things of that nature, you know? And it may not necessarily play out like that because everybody has a different life, circumstance, situation, Sometimes you see the Venus retrograde playing out in your finances, reorganizing investments, things you've put energy in and resources into. Sometimes this will be an inner recalibration of your value system and really what you see as good in life. And this could be a moral adjustment, truly. But while Venus is going through this recalibration in the retrograde, what you guys need to know is she is in a conjunction with Black Moon Lilith. And Lilith has been in Leo for a while. And what is Lilith? Lilith is the apogee of the moon, which is literally the furthest the moon can be from the earth in its orbit around the earth. The furthest it could be. Moon representing feelings in our heart. This is going to be the deepest part of our self needing nourishing at this time. And this could also be the part holding the most pain, or the feelings of oppression or fear or, vindication. While a lot of things aren't actually good or bad, I believe it's appropriate to say what Lilith represents is negative emotion. And there's nothing bad about that. Again, like I said, it just represents negative emotion. And Lilith has been dragging her way through Leo, looking damn good. And it's really about building up the self from the ground up. And on some levels, having to destroy a self to be reborn. Lilith is at 22, isn't she? 23. So she's getting her way out of there, but these last 7+ months have really been about unconditional self-love and character development, and also making peace with pain, turning pain into strength, and releasing these negative emotions that center around ourselves or even others. Because Leo is about people, truly, and our identity. And that which we deny and suppress and judge within ourselves, this becomes a trigger within others for us. And it is the things that we condemn in others that we deny within ourselves. So that's really something to think about and continue to think about after Lilith gets the fuck out of here, man. But if you think about it, Lilith has been sweeping along because she moves way slower than Venus. So basically Venus crossed over her during her transit of Leo while she was direct. And then she stationed retrograde, and she finally made this conjunction again. So there will be one more conjunction. And I'll let y'all know about it. It's going to be a minute, but she's going to pass back over. So there's going to be another fight, basically. And if you prepare for it, it won't be a bad thing. And even if you don't prepare for it, it won't be a bad thing, man, because if the life you're living is a gift, you really can't have a bad day or experience based on that logic. It's kind of crazy to think about as well. But Venus is really not okay right now, and she is gonna be okay. Because like I said, if Lilith represents mostly negative emotion, in addition to deep need of connection, this could say that on some levels, because we're all different, Venus could be having the time of her life. She could be experiencing a new form of connection or pleasure that she's never felt before. But at the same time, this could literally mean a new level of pain that's never been felt before. And for some, this actually looks like revealing some of the worst shit that you've denied. Simply put, is that even if nothing extraordinary is happening in your physical life and universe, this is looking like all that shit from the past that actually did have an impact on you, you're not able to hold that anymore, because Venus is going through this love reset, this death and rebirth, really visiting the underworld and being revived. Okay? And sometimes, parts of ourself have to be killed off in order for our new self to be reborn. So yeah, death occurs when life is coming. And that's definitely something to think about. So be optimistic, be faithful in life itself, because what I divine from this and what my guides and spirit were telling me, dude, is that really the message I'm meant to give you guys at this point is to send love to the women in the world. Send love to the divine feminine. Send love to our mothers, biologically and spiritually. Forgive women too. It's not easy to be a woman. It's not easy to be a man either, but forgive the women for the fear that comes from being a woman, the control that comes from it, the confusion, the pain, and the collateral damage that can happen. Vulnerability is really difficult, truly, and many feel very unsafe with that vulnerability, and some feel like they've never actually known protection in their life, and that means that really intimacy ends up signaling a danger, and power ends up getting confused with love, and love gets confused with power, and then this feminine energy can actually be very hurtful and harmful towards other people. I don't want to turn this into a long, sad story about myself, but if you've been rocking with me, you already know that I'm dealing with, women issues and mom issues and things of that nature, and I'm not alone in that. I see it so much in the people that I talk to when I do consultations and readings, and it's crazy, man, because we need women. We literally could not be here without them. We need men, of course, but this is a frustrating time when it comes to love. It's a frustrating time when it comes to experiencing intimacy. Like, Venus is also in a square to Uranus right now, and I just want to say that this is a revolution, and this is an evolution in the way that we connect to the world and we connect to ourselves, in the way that we experience life truly. Like, both of those planets really deal with life force energy so strongly. Where Uranus is concerned, the vibration of anything it touches is going to elevate. And with this square, this means that this is the difficult thing, man, is that there's so much wattage being put through the heart at this point, and through the sacral, the womb, and also through the air. There's just so much amplitude coming through that it's gonna take all of our bodies a little bit of time to adjust to this new frequency. Okay, so things really are changing. It's imperative now that we go within and nurture the mother within us, because we all have a mother within us. Our experience of being mothered is different than how we were actually mothered, which is crazy. So this does look like heart repairs going on in the collective, and going within ourselves to create new forms of nourishment and new forms of life. And one thing I was also seeing in this energy was that Venus retro conjunct Lilith means for some that diet is actually making you sick right now. So you're gonna have to change your diet if that's you. And diet can be a lot of different forms of intake, whether that's food, love, pleasure, whatever. The things that you take in is really what that's about. So I'm gonna just keep it G real 100 with you, man. When it comes to the way that the world has been loving, Venus is saying absolutely fucking no more. I can't deal with this shit anymore. Absolutely no more. The jealousy, the possession, it's gone way too fucking far. Because the demons hide in the shadows, but the vampires are standing in the light now. And that's as real as it gets, man. This isn't no Hollywood fairy tale bullshit, bruh. Did you guys watch Twilight, like the modern vampire? I feel like that's actually a little bit more close to the true representation of what vampirism is on a human level, on a psychic level, is that the vampires will appear to you looking beautiful, like the most amazing thing that you would have ever desired. The devil comes as the woman in the red dress, as they say, or the tall, handsome man, whatever it ends up being. But that's how you're willfully able to concede your resources and energy to a vampire's manipulation. Like I said, beauty, Venus, attraction. So basically, the vanity has to fucking stop, bro. This shit feels like Ecclesiastes, A lot of people are really fucking fed up with the way they have to receive nourishment and happiness in this life. So like I said, now more than ever, it's imperative to go with the fuck in and make sure that you recalibrate things so you can make sure you assure you get everything you need, regardless of anybody else. wants to provide it to you. Don't let anybody interrupt your life, truly. But the crazy thing about this vampirism is that power, it's only going to corrupt when given to weak people who value vanity over integrity. When you give power to weak people without values, they do cruel things with it. But when you give power to strong people with principle, they will protect others. They will be just with their power, and they will actually be ruthless in the severance of that which holds back growth, truth, and safety. Truly. Okay? So the power play has to fucking stop. Exploitation has to stop. And at some point, you must also say no more. Because whatever you're not changing, you're choosing. And that's as real as it gets, man. Also, Pallas, Athena, she's no longer tolerating this shit. Pallas is applying to an opposition with Chiron as well. And what's crazy about that, hold up. What's crazy about that, man, is that the courts have ruled and justice is here. Truly. God does not turn a blind eye. We will all be weighed on the scales of Ma'at, divine order, divine law, the universe's binary code, if you want to put it that way. So see beyond the veil of vanity at this time. Don't be charmed by the external world and the people within it, or even yourself. I just mean be honest with yourself as well, and just let your ideas, let your feelings, let your values and actions really show you who you are. Be intentional, be focused at this time during this love reset. You are being encouraged to isolate and detach from anything that really pulls you off of your center. I want to say that I actually was giving some readings recently, in this retrograde, and I was told to encourage some people to actually be celibate at this time. If you feel the call in your soul, if you resonate, that's a message for you, is to be centered. And when it comes to power play, when it comes to tug of war, vampirism, fight back if you have to. Truly fight back if you have to, because the good fight doesn't fight itself, okay? And it doesn't matter if you didn't ask to be a part of it. It comes with the territory. This is the crazy thing about Venus and Mars, They actually switched positions in nodal rulership, meaning, for the last 18 months, the North Node was in Taurus, South in Scorpio. So it was Venus, Mars, and now it's reversed. And desire evokes aggression, doesn't it? So we just need to mind our own fucking business, go after what we want, but also don't step on anybody else's toes. This is really the Wiccan Rede. If it harms none, do what thou wilt. If it harms none. But don't step on others and leech other people's energy just because you want to get up. This world is not a zero-sum game. The true nature of spirit is abundance. So it is an absolute fucking lie that someone must lose in order for someone to win. That's bullshit, dualistic thinking, and I'm fucking tired of it. And truly, I can feel it in my neck, bro, in my Saturn Taurus. This is why the goddess is so fucking pissed right now, bro. Do you hear the fucking bugs going up now? Listen, y'all. Absolutely fucking no more. The world is teaching us how to love ourselves through isolation. And that's not easy, but it's necessary because balance must be maintained at all times in order to live the most optimal life and productive exchange within a relationship, meaning that we need honesty to form reciprocity, right? But we also need to be whole, sustaining, and functional people outside of a relationship. This is crazy, man, because there's always been violence on the planet because of the way desire works, meaning this fucking world is dangerous, guys. And this is actually the most powerful message I'm gonna give you on my third house, Pluto. You know this in the depth of your soul, so let me remind you, I'm not teaching you anything new, but there is only one game in life, and it's called Powakatsi. And what that means is the strong devour the weak. They eat the weak, and there's no fucking mercy for this shit. It's ruthless, okay? Some die because they offer themselves up as food. And others had no choice in the matter. And many living people have suffered many deaths and are still animated in this form, which is even crazier. Pauwakatsi exists in many forms. It's not just lions, tigers, and bears, my friends. I'm trying to open your fucking eyes, dude. Like I said, you know this in your soul, so pay attention when it comes to the world and the way that energies are exchanged. Pay attention to the next meal you eat and how you consume and devour the energy without even thinking about it. Look at how any entity does the same exact thing, down to bacteria, all the way up to corporations and governments. That's what I need you to understand, is that any organization, any space contains spirit. And when you open your eyes to the truth, man, you will realize power play exists everywhere in the world. There's a fox. That looks like dead ass a wild fox. I don't know if y'all can see it. You probably cannot. I'm like really flipping it backwards for myself. I just had to try in case it worked. But dude, that, I swear there's a fox. Like, that is not a dog. Ain't no collar. He has a motherfucking, is a pointy at, yeah. I know a fox when I see one, bruh. Motherfuckers be sneaky as hell, bruh. Pay attention, man. Don't let anybody rock you to sleep, bro. Power play exists in many forms, man. And when when the strong devour the weak, this is where you see the example of, not a fucking example, when you see the phrase of people taking your kindness for weakness, people taking advantage of you, people violating your boundaries, people basically entrusting or profiting off of you being kind, being merciful, being nice, okay? So really, it's surrender or stand the fuck up, truly. You feel me? Come out of the hypnotic spell of masochism. Expel the false belief that to be loved and happy, you must first be punished, because that's absolute bullshit. Absolute fucking bullshit. What this actually is going to mean is raising our standards of ourselves. And on another level, this actually would mean demanding more from life and accepting more, bringing more in. Breaking through the threshold of receiving, which means taking more than you feel like you deserve. Which is crazy, because you know you deserve more, but you may not necessarily feel it right now, so you have to bridge that gap by jumping anyway, so you can experience new and better feelings. Just kind of crazy. So, basically, love yourself, appreciate yourself. Love is not pain. However, it's not unconditional love in the human form. And that's what we need to understand, is that in some scenarios, it may be possible for you to experience unconditional love with a person, like when it comes to family or a lover or a good friend or something like that. But do recognize that relationships are reciprocal, meaning transactional. There's checks and balances, and we must really pay attention, man, because we often do not get what we deserve in a relationship or even in business, you know. You get what you negotiate, what you ask for, what you put yourself in a position to receive, right? And do keep in mind, you cannot negotiate if you're unwilling to walk away. Literally, hear it again, you can't negotiate if you're unwilling to walk away. So every now and then, you're gonna have to cut off a bitch and tell them no, absolutely no, no more, and cut off their access, truly. So with Venus conjunct Lilith in the underworld, going retrograde, there's collective rage, collective frustration just being unearthed. And it's all the bullshit that comes as a result of feeling unloved, feeling not special, feeling unworthy, feeling broken, feeling fearful. Like I was talking about, being not centered in yourself or lacking purpose and conviction or meaning, and therefore getting love confused with power, and then unconsciously wanting to harm other people because you admire them, which is crazy, dude. It actually comes from a literal lack of appreciation for yourself. So fucking convoluted, dude. And I think y'all followed my train of thought, but I hope I can paint a picture for you. Spirit just showed me. I want to paint it. They told me I just showed myself. Let me just show you a picture of what this same energy is, because I know I can talk in esoteric terms, but I want you to literally imagine like you're in a garden or a botanical garden or some shit, and you find a very beautiful rose. What actually, the same energy that the collective is unearthing as far as frustration is like you seeing a beautiful flower and then immediately grabbing it because you were so amazed by it, destroying the buds and the petals and the stem. And it's that frustration of having people attack you because they lack understanding or appreciation of themselves in the natural world and their natures. A lot of it literally just comes from ignorance or straight impulse, too much vanity, not enough understanding. So when it comes to your part, what the fuck do you do about this shit? Because I know there's a lot of things to talk about and think about. It's heavy. Your part in the process is to empathize with yourself and to truly love yourself. Accept and express what sucks. Express what's not working. Because again, this is a deep adjustment in values and love, and you have to let it out to create the future. You got to release the past. And, you know, it can be heavy because there's a lot of collective problems wrapped up in it. So the shadow question, I want you to just entertain and not really think too much about judging. Just answer it. Why do you hate your life? I hate my life because, and just let it roll, let it roll, let it roll. It's okay to hate things. And I feel like it's this hyper sensationalism towards others that makes it hard for us to express our deep negative emotions, you know, but there are things that are going to need to be said no to, absolutely no more. And that's absolutely okay. Get it off your chest is what all this Leo energy is about. Get that shit off your chest. How do you feel? Honor your feelings. Your feelings are okay. I heard somebody say, you know, if you can't identify your enemy, you can't necessarily fight the good fight. So also to be able to determine what you love, you must find out what you don't love. For a lot of people on the spiritual path, it's love and light, and by that logic, there is unity. But I also want to say that if you exist in the physical universe for practical purposes, it's not going to do you too well always to love everything all the time. Because then you will be so far on the pillar of mercy that you will get crushed and devoured by the strong people. This is the tree of life. Balance is required. Mars, Venus, basically, on opposite sides. So too much mercy will make you weak. Too much severity will make you cruel. So we must have the value to understand love and truth, but also have the power to protect it as well. And when it comes to the sun, just chugging along, what's really beautiful about this, guys, look at this, man, is that the sun is coming up to Venus. So rescue's happening. That's today. 1 week from now, you see she's getting there, or he's getting there, and there's going to be healing. It's coming. DNA repair is what Spirit tells me. You know, the sun will sweep over Lilith too. Integrating, aligning with the shadow, living unrepressed is really what this is about. Releasing the shame, the guilt, the jealousy, the resentment, those negative emotions that we'd rather not deal with. So what I feel in the collective as I'm touching this energy is that the heart and the sacral chakras, they're really engorged right now. because there's so much new energy coming through them. So there's going to need to be a release. And I would encourage people to get more physical exercise at this time, regardless if you feel exhausted. Don't push yourself to the point of, collapse or pain or, harm. But it may be movement that's going to help you adjust this new energy. It may literally be rest. So I'm not trying to confuse anybody, but do listen to your body and allow space for this new energy to come in. I was seeing it's also spinal calibration because Leo rules the spine. So there's more energy coming into our hearts. I don't measure the solar flares or anything as an astrologer myself personally, but I do believe there must be some correlation between this Lilith sun transit and the amount of solar flares. But I don't know. I haven't looked into it. I just think so. So I'm just going to say that, don't take my word on that. But there's a higher frequency energy coming through the nerves in the spine. And that probably feels great, but at the same time, growth is pain on some levels. So forgiveness is going to be needed for yourself, forgiveness for others, because if we knew better, we would do better. Optimism is going to be imperative to really just see all of these experiences as opportunities to grow and to learn and to love the world deeper. I'm going to say it more succinct, guys. You aren't meant to have all the answers, and for some people in the world, I do see that this transit is really one of the most painful things that has been experienced, and it can be hard to appreciate this, but what I want to say is that this experience is actually going to bring us to a understanding of higher possibilities in our love nature, and that in itself is going to be all the worth it, because everything you do in the name of love will always be worth it. I promise you that. But just make sure you focus on yourself. Mars is in Virgo, and all that Leo energy said the same thing. Focus on yourself. So the thing about Mars, it rules desire, like we talked about, aggression, action. Mars is bright red and hot, and it rules severing, cutting, removing. So when you look at your Mars in your chart, you'll see where you want to remove things. And also you'll see in transit where things need to be taken out of life. And Mars in Virgo just says focus on the healing, because Virgo is about the body. Truly listen to the body at this time, but find flow, because it's always going to be a process of balancing growth, expanding and contracting, right? That's how growth happens. So you need to put pressure on the system rather than yourself, because Virgo is going to make speed a priority and make efficiency a priority. So when it comes to the cutting, there's going to be a removing of illness, and there will be a removing of inefficiencies within the system, which is really cool. Striving for speed, striving for perfection. And this is a fleeting goal. Please understand that shit, because being a Virgo is like one of the hardest things in the world, or having to deal with this energy. Because Virgo is precise, it's analytical, it concerns itself with the facts. So the crazy thing is that Virgo Mars means we are collectively and unconsciously putting pressure on ourselves to be better. And we might not even have an understanding of our true values, like I just talked about for damn near 40 fucking minutes, dude. So under that lens, what this is going to mean is that while everybody is now feeling a deeper desire to help or serve or feel like they are helpful, this also means there's a new collective resentment trying to punish or humiliate people that we're jealous of. Don't fucking be that person, and don't tolerate that person either. So heal people, and hurt people, and boundaries are really going to be needed to maintain just a productive growth in your life. And do remind yourself, boundaries are for you, they're not for other people. So when you establish non-negotiables, aka form a system of growth for yourself, if anybody tries to violate, you get to give them the repercussions of removing their access to you. And just understand that that can be the best karma you give somebody, the fact that they never have a place in your life again. Absolutely not. Cut a bitch off for lying. Or just whatever the fuck, Your boundaries are yours. So whatever you don't tolerate, just understand and establish and respect that. So if you see it one fucking time, you remove yourself. Okay? So do not be so hard on yourself. Do not be so hard on yourself, because when it comes to putting pressure on the self, we end up reinforcing shame and guilt and these toxic emotions that do have a purpose in life, but can be very harmful when we repress them and don't know what to do with them. Because like I talked about earlier, if we're too hard on ourselves, we start feeling artificially full of guilt or shame or pain. We start feeling bad about ourselves, disowning parts of ourselves, and therefore projecting this anger onto parts of the world, and then causing collateral damage to people that never hurt us, okay? And this is why it's so fucking important to do the healing, aka why hurt people hurt people. So you can't give people accountability. And what I mean by that is, while you can show people the truth, it's their choice to take the medicine. And that's just what it is. And you can't give people the benefit of the doubt over and over and over again. Protect yourself, protect your love is all I'm trying to say. Why do you think she's got a lid on her cup, man? It's the biggest one. So what's really cool about this year, and this is going to be a really reoccurring aspect for the whole year, guys, is that Jupiter in Taurus is actually applying to Uranus in transit. And Jupiter will go retrograde, meaning I keep calling them all she, but yeah, either way, she is going to back up and kind of create more distance, but she'll cross over next year when it comes to Uranus. So you can see right now, they're pretty close. They're less than 10 degrees away. But what this literally is a stripping of beliefs that are false. And shit, again, making more sense. Taking initiative on our own security is what I'm seeing. Following the inner guidance, because Taurus is feminine. It's really taking nature into consideration to form our ideals and to form our growth and move ourselves forward. But I do see that the focus, like Jupiter is kind of like the frame, Mercury is more so the focus, but the frame right now is like understanding true love, understanding what actually means shit, what is valuable to you. So what I'm seeing is that, you know, Jupiter is a 1-year transit in any sign, right? So about a year from now, roughly, Jupiter goes into Gemini, right? And a year ago was in Aries, just to put it in perspective. This frame is about, what does it really matter? Truly, what does it matter? Or what does matter? These are both pretty much the same question in one regard, in the sense that, what do you appreciate in life? What is bringing you meaning? What is bringing you substance? Is it the connection? Is it the money? Is it the experiences? I don't really have the answer. I'm just jogging your mind, you know, trying to get some wheels turning. But you may be called to look at the true intrinsic value of things and appreciate the material more at this time and be more grounded in the body. And I don't mean to be like, this kind of makes me laugh based on the whole conversation we've already had, but it's like, to see the meaning of food is really what Jupiter in Taurus is about. And some of y'all understood Pawakatsi for the first time today. Stick to your morals. Make your judgment make sense. Do what's right for you, and also do what you know to be right for others, and try to meet that in the middle in some way. But again, do remember that life is about self-preservation, so you must protect your strength, okay? I see that there's a balancing and a restabilizing when it comes to this Jupiter-Taurus transit, especially as Jupiter applies to Uranus, and some of the frames that we've held on for so long are literally being removed whether we want it or not. So it's a rebalancing on the tree of life in the terms of love, basically meaning that some of us have found we've been entirely too fucking cruel, right? Some of us have found we've been entirely too fucking merciful. And some of us bounce back and forth. Some of us may feel kind of nicely in the middle. Some of us have way more questions than answers, and that's totally all right. But the point of Jupiter Taurus is be comfortable doing the right thing. Be comfortable doing the right thing. Your circle of influence, aka where you can make changes and interact with the world, that's a lot smaller than your sphere of awareness for most. Because we're more aware of the things outside of our control, okay? So the questions I have for you folks at home watching the vid is, what do I truly want? That's a great question to ask yourself. Don't ever skip this question. What is it that I want? And what's the highest leverage way to get it with the least resistance possible? And third of all, am I ready for it? Truly ask yourself, are you ready to receive this shit? You ready to make a space for it? Is there a space for it? Gain is change that requires sacrifice. So something has to be released to get the increase. Be at peace with the increase, but listen to Mars again. Something needs to be let go of, and listen to the body. Saturn is in retrograde, right? And trailing through Pisces. Shit is getting real. And with Saturn reversing its direction, this is a recalibration of the finite world. Saturn rules structure, organization, the material plane. And I see this as a macrocosmic banishing ritual. Like there's so much being knocked down and removed, not even just from the physical, but from also the metaphysical world. Letting it all go is really what this is. Saturn in the last sign of the zodiac is that there is a reset coming. When Saturn hits 0 Aries, I'm telling you guys, it will be a different world, truly. So what we're meant to do in the meantime, for the next couple years, 2 to 3 years, is understand our emotions, understand our beliefs. Truly build your dreams in this world and understand the value of the dream that you've been shown. Another thing about Saturn in Pisces is that with Saturn going through all the signs of the zodiac prior and about to hit the beginning of the wheel again, this talks about having a heavy ass past, dude. I'm just keeping it 100. A past that is so heavy that it weighs on the present and it makes the future seem non-existent, like it's the end of the road. So one of the challenging things about Saturn in Pisces is that there are going to be times where we have to go within and summon faith for life itself, or be the one to create faith for life itself when it seems completely dark. Like if you are in the dark, you might be the one who is the light. So the belief in God, the faith in life, it is being tested, and that is a very serious matter. And I also hear, if you can't find the light, look for the light. If you can't find it after that, see what you can do to be that. And if you can't do it in that moment, try to be still then. Saturn in Pisces is about knowing what you're sacrificing for, because it's not what you do, it's how you do it. It's about why you do it, under the conditions and what circumstances. So I just encourage you, do it for yourself. If anybody, do it for you. Start caring more. Fully support and protect yourself. Show up for yourself on all levels. So you can literally develop real empathy for others, because you can't connect to others without connecting to that part of yourself first. Can't give what you don't have. This talks about being the one to save yourself, because we can really only come together collectively if we come together personally. And that's really something to think about, because the world is inside of ourselves. It's not outside. This is a sign of the times with Saturn in Pisces. And also, speaking of the time, the North Node is in Aries, South Node is in Libra, and it's really a focus on self, freedom, and purpose. And it's new balance. Releasing vanity, releasing lies, not putting so much value on appearance. Stepping more deliberately into our masculine, because we all hold both of these energies. Remember, while the feminine is needing a lot of love right now, we must also protect it with our sacred masculine, meaning we must remember to protect, we must remember to provide, we must remember to preach, and to be wise, loving, and generous, and patient as well, is really what this is about. And this is crazy, guys, because when it comes to the nodal axis of fate, karma, destiny, there are some squares. So Pluto is making a perfect square, and this is really just about soul change, evolution being forced in right now, rather uncomfortably. Many death and rebirths are happening as we speak. Some of these don't seem to make sense, but a lot of them were long overdue, is what this Pluto square the nodes is about. And what's even crazier, I will show you as I tell you, is that Juno is applying to Pluto in opposition. So here we got Pluto in the 12th on my screen, and then we've got Juno down there near my middle finger in Cancer. And that means Juno is square the nodes as well, meaning there is judgment when it comes to the toxic relationships. Pluto is the transformation, the death, etc. But Juno specifically, that asteroid, is about the romantic love. So when it comes to, you know, the domestic violations, there is going to be justice for a lot of people. There's going to be a whole lot of things with this angle. So I just encourage everybody to protect themselves and stay vigilant in the name of love. Like I said earlier, to do it for yourself and really protect your energy, protect your love. I do see with this angle, there's going to be hearts snapping from desperation to be loved so much that it feels like a heart snapping. So do remember that your heart can heal itself. You have all the energy that you need, all the resources. And that divine intelligence within you is what heals you. So you literally have the ability to heal yourself. But what's even crazier is that it's not necessarily easy. Sometimes it's very difficult actually to heal in the same environment that got you sick. So that in itself could be, an issue as well. So be extremely wary of love offers at this time, because what's good to you might not be good for you. You hear me? What I also see about this one is that there may be a forced change, or maybe a gentle change initiated by yourself when it comes to your style, your taste. So, for example, this is a good time to experiment with different clothes, experiment with different foods, experiment with different music, try different relationship dynamics when it comes to, the Venus, the love, how we connect. Get to know yourself deeper. Let culture enrich you. Meet your own needs first, last, and always. Communicate when it comes to people. And just remember, above all else, dude, there's no such thing as love without truth, because truth predicates itself on acceptance, right? So if we cannot accept each other, we cannot love each other, simply put. There is no such thing as love without truth, and motherfuckers are gonna be forced to stop lying. Third house Pluto is where lies come to fucking die. So do remember that. You can hide shit from yourself, you can hide shit from other people, but you cannot hide shit from the universe, because that is the creator of every motherfucking thing, dude. And also, what about that damn conscience? That has to stay clean as well, so we can stay pristine and build a beautiful relationship, man. We ain't got no time for bullshit when it comes to love. And when it comes to this week ahead, August 15th, we're crazy times. Crazy people and crazy times, going through crazy rhymes. What's amazing is, like, we start today with the sun square Jupiter, but then, like, next week, we are gonna have the sun square Uranus. So we're applying to this square. And this is really about being honest with the self, I think, above everything else. I'll talk to you guys more about it in the next week, but truly, it's about being honest with your damn self and going within yourself and letting go of all that toxic shit, all that bullshit. I just see a bat fly above me. Yeah, that's what it's about, man. Cut off all the psychic vampires. Cut off all the leeches and parasites. Remove everything that drains you and holds you back from being your true fucking self. I think this is really about laying low and protecting yourself truly. Enjoying the love, enjoying the pleasure, being stable, secure, but being impenetrable from the wrong forces. And that's what I got for you guys. I love you so damn much. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Mars Day with Mark. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hit that like button and share this with your friend. I will see you guys pretty soon within the week. And next week, we're definitely going to have a lot to talk about as far as this new moon, new energy, new world to be living in. And it's so beautiful. So it's good to see your face. Same time, maybe a different place. Fuck around and find out. Take it easy, friend. Blessed be.